The story of the vehicle you see here, 2013 Dodge Ram, is quite simple, and it goes like this. 3.6, 8, 25. Here we are again in sunny New Mexico. We got mud on the tires. I got Pyramid Rock over my shoulder off in the distance. I'm Greg Cavanaugh of the Gallup Journey Magazine. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get started. Well, that 3.6, no surprise, refers to the displacement here. Now, Dodge Ram is pretty much synonymous with HEMI. Most people on the street are going to know that. However, I was stoked to see that the Ram I was going to get to drive was this brilliant combination of the 3.6 liter and the automatic transmission. Let's talk about it a minute. First of all, what is thoroughly deceiving is just how small this engine is in the engine bay. Back up against the firewall, the block is literally 2 feet probably from the front of the radiator shroud here. So basically, it's extremely deceiving. However, the 3.6 liter is a very modern 3.6. Variable valve timing, dual overhead cams, all that good stuff. Not direct injected, but other than that, this thing makes 305 horsepower and 269 pound-feet of torque. Those are good numbers. They're very similar to the 3.7 liter I drove in the F-150 earlier this summer. The key difference, however, the F-150 had a 6-speed. The Dodge here, as most of you guys know, has their 8-speed, and that makes all the difference. If you're going to stop the video right here, just take that away. This is a brilliant powertrain package, and I would recommend it for 90% of Americans who need trucks for what they use them for. Let's talk about it real quick. Essentially, with that 3.6 liter, you're essentially getting all that horsepower and torque when you need it because it's multiplied through 8 different ratios. So off the line, first and second are very short and great, for around town. And then, out on the open road on the highway, 7 and 8 are real tall, real long. So it drops the RPM down and you end up with, a nice cruising, way low on the tack, quiet, efficient highway bomber. Of course, you have 6th through 3rd in between for basically all your needs out on, the open country roads and, trying to get your way smartly through traffic. So as a whole, A+ on the powertrain Dodge. Out here on the road, this is still a truck. It doesn't necessarily drive or ride that great. It does use electronic steering, and I don't particularly like it. On center, it's real dead, and then it doesn't seem to do anything until you've moved quite a bit off center, then suddenly it seems to go. Same with the brakes. They seem to have a real on again, off again type of thing. You just, doesn't seem to be anything else, and boom, they bite. They're real grabby. And again, the powertrain, primo. Right now I'm doing, 35 on a city street, and I'm in 6th gear. I mean, if you want to talk fuel economy, there you go. So let's talk fuel economy. 17, 25, 20 combined. Let me say that again because this is a full-size quad cab pickup truck. 17, 25, 20 combined. I think those numbers tell the last part of the story and speak dividends as to what's going on. An interesting aspect of driving the 8-speed is on downshifts. As with any automatic transmission, when you step on it, it downshifts, the RPMs jump up, you go faster. What's different here, as you'll notice, is once you get going faster, it upshifts, and then upshifts, and then upshifts. Whereas a typical 5 or 6-speed transmission will drop 1 or 2 gears on a downshift, this will drop 2, even 3, maybe even 4 gears. It didn't do that for me, but I'm sure it might in certain circumstances. So it takes a little adjusting to think about how many ratios it's changing in one fell swoop. So of course, what people often want to know is, with this V6 8-speed combination, is it going to do all the chores, the tasks that a truck would normally be required to do? My answer is yes. You still get 1,800 pounds of payload capacity and 4,000 to 6,000 pounds of towing capacity depending on the rear end. This rear end has the 3.21 rear end, which means that you're going to tow about 4,500 pounds with the quad cab 4x2. If you have the shorter rear end, the 355, it tows more like 6,000 pounds. So yeah, you're not going to be hauling a semi-trailer's worth of stuff, but you're going to be able to haul a 20-foot tandem axle travel trailer just fine. Here in town, this thing does ride like a truck. It's a little bit stiff-legged and kind of throws your head around a little bit. You can probably see some of that in the camera movement. Out on the open road, particularly on a smooth highway, she's a cruiser, quiet and smooth. The interior here of the Dodge Ram is a pickup truck. I don't really have anything wrong with it. There's a lot of plastic up here on the dash. It's very hard plastic, but I suppose this is kind of a, what's the tradesman edition, so this is kind of the stripper version of the truck in some respects. So I suppose at a higher trim level that might look nicer, but you know, it's nothing to write home about. Stereo, factory stereo is actually pretty awesome, but oddly I couldn't get it to play NPR. It seemed to only want to play country and like classic rock. Can't figure that one out. As is typical of a Ram, this center console, center armrest is enormous. You have 3 cup holders here, which a buddy of mine figured you could probably fit 3 American-sized 32-ounce oversized sodas in here without them touching. And then in the center, this started with the original Ram when it was kind of redone, and whenever that was, I think 94. This thing's huge. You could put like a 10-inch pizza in here. You have some nice convenience features here in terms of like ports for USB, audio, cigarette lighter, power, and then of course you could stick a whole tablet in there, no problem. Dodge made it a point here that this knob selector for the shifting is supposed to be better. Frankly, you know, I've only been driving this for 4 days, but I kept turning the fan speed control when I thought I was going to be, you know, putting it into drive when, you know, backing out of a parking spot or something. Or the opposite would happen where I wouldn't even reach for this area. I'd reach for the column here expecting to, you know, shift at the column, or I'd reach for the center armrest console here expecting there to be a shifter in the center. You know, they make their claims about why it's better, but I just don't really see the logic in it. As it sits, I'm driving this, it's about 30 grand. This is the tradesman model or edition, I guess you'd call it. Comes with steel wheels, which I don't think look very good, but being a tradesman, I think that's exactly what they're there for. The fact is, you get the Pentastar, you get the 8-speed, you get the active grille shutters, it's a quad cab, you got most of the things you need, power, windows, locks, air conditioning, all that kind of stuff. 30 grand's about par for the course. Not a bad deal. Now for the back seat shot. Keep this short. You can get yourself a quad cab or a crew cab. I think the quad cab's the way to go. You still get traditional forward hinge doors, plenty of room back here, and a proper sized bed in the back. Without the Ram boxes, you end up with a pretty traditional bed. Quite wide, quite deep, quite long. In fact, I think it's the perfect size considering this is the quad cab. Now, if you do opt for those Ram boxes, I looked at a couple other models at the dealership. You know, it's basically straight down the side here, so you lose that kind of space, even with the wheel wells, but you gain all that lockable storage. So that's going to be for you to check out and decide if that's for you. I'm really proud of Chrysler for what they did here with the new Dodge Ram and the Powertrain. I want to give a special thanks to Tate's Automotive Group for letting me check that out. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Leave your comments and questions below, and of course, subscribe.